Hello, Gems. Welcome to another episode of Tiaras and Tech. I'm your host, Shelley Benhoff, and today I'm talking to Gabriela Martinez Sanchez about finding the right mentors. She is a senior research engineer at Microsoft, a mom, and an amazing mentor. We talked about how she got her start in tech as a woman in Mexico, finding a job at Microsoft during the pandemic, and the importance of finding the right mentors, plural, you should have many, and how to find them. Without further ado, on to the episode. Hey, Gabriela, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you to you, Shelley. It's a pleasure to be here in your show. So I am really excited to have this conversation and enjoy the show.
Yes, absolutely. Let's just jump right in and have you tell us how you got started in tech.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm Mexican. I live in Guadalajara, and I grew up in another city. I actually moved to Guadalajara, so I got my bachelor degree in a public school many years ago. Like I was graduated in 2001. So when I was in college, I remember when the first email service was live, and all these things that were very new for us, like as students, were amazing to have the internet access and having access to a lot of resources. So it was so nice to be at that moment and also be very close to computers and all that. So that's how everything started for me, and I was so in love with computers that I love coding, and so I was just looking forward to finish my degree and then go to the industry to do software. That was like my dream. And so when I graduated in the place where I was living, it was very small, and then I moved here because here in Mexico at that moment there were not a lot of options to work in software companies. So I was looking to, of course, to have a career, to have to learn more, because I was looking to maybe in the future work for a big company. So I moved to Guadalajara, and it's been 12 years ago since I moved here, and it's really has been very, very, very nice experience for me.
That's awesome. Yeah. I will say that we're just about the same age. I graduated college in 2002. And a lot of experiences the same. Like there was no source control to turn in your coding homework. So we used like floppy disks or zip disks for a while.
They were absolutely like, yeah, you are in my club.
Totally, yeah. And somewhere in this house I still have those discs because like I was so proud of my work at the time. People would cheat off of me and I was like, yeah.
Like yeah, this is the proof.
Yeah, exactly. And like I was just saying to you earlier, I have literally never worked with any Latina in coding in general. I think like one in front end, but especially not like Microsoft, like stack, there's hardly any women. And then there's even fewer diverse women, who aren't white.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, when you are mentioning that, we're mentioning, and I recall when I started, there was always, most of the cases, I was the only woman in the room, or in the team, or sometimes even in teams, across teams, there were no women in the companies. But later, or more recently, I have seen more women working in companies like big companies, Amazon, Microsoft, Google. So it's amazing that now we have more diversity.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. And I hope that telling these stories, every guest I've had has an amazing story, and I really hope that we can all sort of inspire the next generation of female technologists, and there are a lot of different skills that you can learn. It isn't just coding and stuff like that, but
yeah, totally agree with you.
exactly.
That's always something that I think the industry will be very, we have a lot of benefits if we have more diversity, not just specifically for gender, but that we have diversity in everything, and from culture backgrounds or from focuses in your career. There are so many, so it's great that we have more diversity. That will be that will make the industry a more inclusive, of course, a more inclusive
Exactly.
area or industry, of course.
Yeah, I love that. So you work at Microsoft at the mothership. Like I had always wanted to work there, but now it's just kind of like, I'm an author and stuff like that. So I think that time has passed. But I always thought if I ever got a job at Microsoft, I would literally tell people that the mothership had called me home. So I've been
Yeah.
a Microsoft developer since like 2003. So it's been
Wow.
my whole life. How did you land that job? And congratulations on that. Microsoft, they don't just hire anybody.
Oh yeah, I am. When I moved to Guadalajara, I think was the first thing that was in my mind was like having a job where I can learn more about a big company. Like, and so that was one of the goals in my mind, but wasn't sure if I was going to be looking for a job in Microsoft. But then when I joined my SQL before joining, that was one of the first big companies that I work in, and it was such a really nice experience to be able to collaborate in a product that many people were using, and I was using before joining MySQL. So that was like something that made me feel empowered, inspired. I stayed there like almost 6 years, and then I moved to the cloud because everything was going to the cloud, and I was like, yeah, I have to learn about the cloud. So I was looking for that, and of course for some reason I was using Microsoft technologies. So I was like, well, maybe I can give it a shot. Why not? I can maybe get a job in Microsoft, because sometimes it's not so easy, and especially for us in Mexico, you have to deal with the visa, you have to deal with the language. Sometimes it's a barrier for some, which is, I think, less now that we have more companies from US coming to Mexico to look for talent. So I think for me it was like, well, I have already the English, I have some experiences, so let's try it. And I have to prepare. I had to prepare because I was a little not so, the algorithms foundations, and I had some years that I was not using so many technical things and algorithms. So I had to learn. I had to study and dedicate some time for getting ready for the interviews. And I think that was a very interesting process for me, because at that moment was exactly when the situation with the COVID was more difficult. So it was kind of a struggle trying to get familiar with starting at the house and working and dealing with the house stuff, and then having myself a framework or designing something that can help me out to make myself accountable and having some progress during this preparation phase. So it was a very interesting phase for me. I had to to spend time in the night, during the night, studying, and because sometimes I had a lot of work to do, and after uh, doing house stuff and things like that, I have a daughter also, so I had to balance things and make myself the time to make that dream come true. And so, but I was like, this is the thing that I want to do, so I'm not going to quit, no matter how many months or time I had to study. So I kept myself in that. And in that time, I also was, there were a lot of, I think, opportunities that weren't before because of COVID. There and no one was able to be doing conference in person, so everything was virtual. So it wasn't a problem if you were in Mexico or in US or in Europe. You can join a group in any place. So that was something that opened a lot of doors for me. So I got to be helping other women. I engaged myself with a community in Women Who Code. I was also trying to help other women here in Mexico that sometimes reach out to me to ask me for resources or something like that to learn about programming. So that was something like I was enjoying a lot. I think I didn't expect that while I was looking for a job or doing this interview preparation, I was going to learn so much about other women careers and also help them. And actually, at the end of the day, they also help me. Now, I'm not just helping them. So we help each other and we learn from each other and share experiences. So that was a really nice experience. And at the end of the day, it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of learning and growth, personal growth. And at this moment, I feel like very, very happy to be to give myself the chance, even if it was not so easy, but it was worth it, definitely.
Yeah, amazing. That sounds like COVID opened doors for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so, I don't know, so funny and
yeah,
unexpected that sometimes when there is a crisis around you, you can find the opportunities to to look for your goals and make them reality, because otherwise
exactly.
no one is going to be doing the job for you. So
Yeah.
that's the truth. So that was kind of the story.
I think a lot of us, COVID, has caused this whole resignation, where people are resigning
Yeah,
en masse from jobs because there's a shortage of workers now that, so many people have passed. And
yeah.
when there's a shortage of workers, the workers have the power. So
Mhm.
companies are finding that out the
Absolutely.
hard way. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's so interesting to sometimes hearing about other people that perhaps were really struggling, because for me, for example, I like I mentioned, I have a daughter and she is 14, but I the other day I was thinking, like, what if this happened when my daughter was if my daughter were, I don't know, 3 years or less, or 2 years. It would have been really difficult, because you cannot take care of a child so little and also have time for yourself, because they are so demanding and still need you a lot. So I was like thinking, like, come on, I don't know how the women that don't have at this moment the child care support, they are really struggling. And
Mhm.
so it's nice that now we are getting back to normal, and now I hope that I hope that many women that weren't able to work during these 2 years of the pandemic, that now are able to get their jobs back, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's no secret that women have bore the brunt of the pandemic.
Yeah,
I have a friend who or a couple, they have two children and they're like 4 and 5, and this life is all that they've ever known. And that really sucks.
yeah. It was a super challenge phase for many families, and especially for women, I think, because women are the main caregivers in the
Still,
families
yep,
still, even
still.
today. And so most of the times, women were the ones that were quitting. We had to leave their jobs because someone had to take care of the kids. So and yeah, so it's always really difficult for us, for women, to have to perhaps give the priority to your job. You cannot be thinking on putting your job above your kids. That's something that like I think many people or many women have this struggle, and it's not easy. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it was like, for me, it was like, try to to do your best, and I was trying to balance everything.
Mhm.
But that was, I think, something that was at least less difficult for me, like not having a baby at least.
Yeah, true. I also know people that had babies during COVID because, you're quarantined. What else are you gonna
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, the suddenly the
Yeah.
families get bigger.
Yeah, which is good to
Yeah, yeah.
repopulate the
I
earth and
think
all.
yeah, I guess that in the future we will be hearing a lot of stories, funny stories and love stories and not so funny stories about what everyone was doing during the pandemic, or how everyone got to through these years of pandemic.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, back to your job at Microsoft. You are a senior research software engineer. What exactly is that? And
That's correct. That's
what
that's
do
the
you
big title for
like?
a role.
Yeah.
Let's say, yeah. So when I was looking for this for job in Microsoft, they reached out to me to offering me to have this process to apply for this role, and I was like, what is that? I mean, what is a research software engineer? And basically, what I do is I help researchers to make their projects. To make their projects a product, or becoming almost a product. So what we do is we partner with the developer, the researchers. So we help them to implement, and sometimes some of us are focused more in, I don't know, machine learning, or some other are focused more on front end, or like myself, I'm focused more on back end and distributed systems and databases. So that's also something that you provide as your experience in your technical experience. So based on that, you get to pick what product you want to, or what project you want to work in. And so that's pretty much what I do. And the technologies that are different or vary from the project to project. And that's basically what I do. So I work inside of Microsoft Research, and there are many areas inside of Microsoft Research. There are the labs, there are the researchers, and we are like a pool of engineers. Like, we have this technical background that we can leverage in the projects with the researchers. So that's what I do.
That's
and it's
amazing. Like,
and it's like a really, so far it has been an absolutely great experience, learning a lot, and also working from home, which is something new for me.
oh, really? Wow. I've worked from home
Yeah.
since like 2010 or 11, and I tried to work from home around 2006, but the infrastructure wasn't really there yet. So,
I
yeah, the
see. Oh,
experience,
okay.
because back then we didn't have video chat yet.
Yeah, you're right. That's
Yeah.
something that it hasn't been so long that
Yeah,
we have that. Very
exactly.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something that I think has made things a lot easier.
Mhm.
Still, for example, what I can share about this experience, which is new for me, it's sometimes I still feel like I miss the personal interaction, which is not the same, but the video really helps to
Mhm.
get a little, or feeling yourself a little closer to your colleagues or to your teammates. And so without that, I don't think we can make this happen. Working
Yeah.
remotely, it's not easy. And when you want to, especially when you have to do some knowledge transfer, or you know that you have to do the pair programming, so that's when you have to really be very creative to help your partner or your teammate to learn. So that has been still a challenge for me, but it's getting, you have patience and you have a lot of discipline. I think also you need to be very disciplined to study um, and not feeling yourself discouraged because you have a lot of things to learn. So that's something that you also need to think about when you're working remotely.
Yes, exactly. So you touched on coaching. And as you know, the meat and potatoes of this episode is about mentoring. We are both very interested and just really feel that it's important for people to have support. So what do you like about mentoring?
Well, I am so happy that you touch this subject. I think it's so important, especially, I don't know, later I have been hearing a lot about mentoring, having a mentor and everything. So yeah, I was looking for, when I joined during my all these jobs that I have had, I was always like missing this part of someone that can give me a little bit of support or guidance. I was like, because sometimes I don't know, but you don't have a lot of role models, women in the industry, or at least I didn't have. So when I had some experience and I felt like more confident on my skills and my experience, I was like thinking like, well, when I was looking at younger developers, I was like, well, maybe I can help her. Maybe I can support her. Maybe I can encourage her to, to don't give up if she has some challenges in the project, or hearing about what are the things that she needs or they need, because sometimes they work women and also young developers, men. So I was like, definitely we need to do some mentoring. And that was something that I was not so aware of I guess the need of having this role, because sometimes you hear about that, but if you don't have, you're not clear about how many benefits you can have from a mentor, sometimes perhaps you wouldn't be looking for a mentor. So, but for me, it was like, no, I think this is important. So when I joined one of the previous companies, I was part of a program for having mentoring, very formal mentoring. So we thought about how we can do this, how we can pair the mentor with the mentee, and how we can give the mentors the resources to do this mentoring. So I was very, very involved in that time, and still I'm not part of that company yet, but now in Microsoft I see a lot of women still looking for mentoring, because we really need, I don't know, it's not, I guess it's not just for women, it's for anybody who is looking for learning and growth. Having a mentor is really important. So yeah.
Absolutely.
So I have been always looking for places where I can mentor, or where I can learn about mentoring. I have done some courses where I have more resources about how to do this mentoring, because there are different styles of mentoring.
Yeah, I think most people confuse mentoring with training. A mentor isn't really there to teach you skills. They're there to guide you career-wise and offer you career resources that then you take on your own. If they have questions on a specific technology, I'll answer, but like I won't hold your hand through Hello World and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, I also go ahead.
Yeah, I was just when I was hearing about this comparison that you made about sometimes we confuse mentoring with training. and it also, I think lately, I don't know if you, but I have also be hearing the sponsorship also, this term of I am your sponsor, or I am your mentor. So, and there are so many terms, and I think it's sometimes confusing when you are especially looking to grow, or looking for thinking I want to be the owner of my career, and I want to drive my career. So those are the times when perhaps you can get confused about what should I look for. Should I look for a mentor? Should I look for a sponsor, coach? Or there are so many things, I think, sometimes some now, and so I want to just emphasize the difference for a mentor, because mentoring, it's someone that wants to support you, and it's not just for just the chat, it's not for just goal. It's about a period of time where you get to know your mentor, and your mentor also get to know you about what are your goals, what are your strengths, what are not the things that you are not perhaps so good, what are the things that you need to improve. I mean, everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly, like someone says. So you get that relationship, and that relationship develops with time and with talking, and facing maybe some challenges, and going through those challenges with your mentor. So it's someone that really knows you very well, and knows you, how you want to leverage your skills
Absolutely.
in a role, let's say. So it's something that I think it's unique. It's not the same as a sponsor. It's not the same as a coach, and so, and I think it's very beneficial for anybody who wants to grow and learn. I think it's a great thing to have a
Yeah.
mentor.
Yeah, I didn't have one for like 10 years into my career, and after I got one and he started to, tell me that how I'm being treated isn't okay and stuff like that he's noticed, that
Yeah.
because I'm a woman, like people are gaslighting me or whatever. And that really opened my eyes. He helped me leave a job that was treating both of us horribly, honestly. And after that, I started to look for mentors, and now I have like, I don't know, six like active ones, and then others who I could reach out to, and and they would answer me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think you have created your own network support, which is amazing, because sometimes maybe someone cannot help you because maybe that is out of their scope, or maybe they don't have that experience. So you can look for another person and see if uh, they have the experience in the, especially the issue or the subject that you need. So that's great that you are able to have that support. So
Yep.
yeah, so I think that's something that I think for women, we are more lean on sharing. I think, I don't know, sometimes for men it's a little bit difficult to be more open about their issues or about their struggles, but for women I think it's more natural, and I think we enjoy more that companion, or that guidance or support in communities, or in someone that you can choose as a mentor. So I think that's amazing that we finally have more open that subject, or that it's more natural to say I want to look for a mentor, or I have a mentor or mentors. I think now it's more um, common or more natural. We have that resource more available.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's really really important for people to have a group of mentors. Just like you said, not every person can fulfill your every need, and then I think also if a person attaches themselves to one mentor, they try to like become them. And we're all individuals and we're all on our own journey. and
Right.
if you have a group of people who can, inspire you and influence you, that's much more
Yeah.
powerful. Yeah,
Yeah, I think anybody can relate with what you said. Sometimes it's not good to be try to become someone else. I think you are your own your own story, your own style, and that also should be something that your mentor should always take into account. Like, what is your style? What do you feel like is for you, and not telling you what to choose. I mean, they guide you, but they don't take the decisions that you should be taking. That's something very important
exactly.
to have in
Yeah.
mind. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Something else that you touched on was that mentoring, it's a personal relationship. You have to be authentic. You have to be open to talking about whatever the person wants, honestly. And I've always had this like superpower because I'm like so empathetic, and now I'm a, mental health advocate. I can get anybody to open up. I swear to God. Like even my father, like opened up to me
Yeah, yeah.
recently. But I have men who are, like gruff and kind of, not the type that I would ever think would open up to me about their own mental health issues. But after I started to, you know, post like support and stuff like
Yeah.
that, I get a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's great. It's a special skill. I think that not everybody can have. I think you can develop that. I think, but sometimes it's not easy for many people. I think so.
Yeah.
That's great for you. That's awesome that you can have that. That's a superpower.
Yeah. Thank
I
you
think
so
so.
much.
I think so. That's great.
Yeah. And I think that it's especially important for women to have other female mentors. Something that we all really need is, that support of just knowing that someone's in your corner, honestly, because for a lot of us,
Yeah.
that is not the case at work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think also feeling that someone can support you or you has your back. I think that's also another expression. And I think that's great for us as women. I think sometimes for us it's a little harder to know to open doors. Um, Especially when you have really strong models or strong roles around you, perhaps that are not women, and that can be challenging. I think so. If you find someone that can support you, and sometimes also it comes, I think for me that we are talking about this is also this sponsor. A sponsoring role that is also important, which is different to the mentoring. I think that's also something you have to look for. I think you need to be looking for those persons that connect with you, and that you can, talk and ask them. Can you be my mentor, or can you support me in this decision, or I need to, uh, to get this promotion, or know how to get advanced in this the next role in your group or your team. So I think that, yeah, you are absolutely right that it's really important to have someone in your group close to you that can give you that support.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mentor a lot of women. I probably mentor like 100 people. I actually took on probably 10 more this week. But anyway, the
That's great.
women I talk to, the major issue with all of us, and myself included, is that a lot of the time we aren't sure if we should be upset about something.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's kind of for me when you are explaining this is kind of the emotional thing that sometimes it's I think um sadly in the culture, I think in many cultures, I think here in Mexico is the same, but I think in the US it's the same, where you hear about like it's too emotional, or so about a, mostly it's about a woman, and it's not so nice to, to be in the spot when you have feelings about something, and someone, and you of course you have to express your feelings. I think anybody should be free to express how you feel about something. And since we have this kind of not so open environment for men, so we are always in the spot when we are showing more our emotions in public. So I think that's something that it's sad to hear, and I hope that really, like you said, you are a healthcare, a health mental advocate, and I think that's super important now that we become more aware in general for like how is our environment about that, and having this freedom about telling maybe things that perhaps it's not so easy to hear, or having difficult conversations, or letting someone else to be more emotional and not feeling like that's not okay. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I definitely have hear about that, and I can relate. And even myself, I think sometimes we try to, to be cool, it's like, let's be cool, and then don't make a big deal of that, just move on. And sometimes it's not. I think we should not, to we should reflect about that. If you if you feel it's something important, you should speak up. And it's really, it's better, it's always something that if you feel the freedom to speak up in your team, I think that's healthy. That's a healthy environment, because
Absolutely.
it's always about the communication, and you know, be feeling welcome about what you have to say about something, or your opinion, or how you feel about a decision, or something. So yeah, so I think before you were mentioning that you weren't in a place, in a previous job, where you weren't feeling at your best, or you weren't feeling like you were encouraged or empowered. So yeah, so those are the things that you should be always looking, like if you are in a healthy environment, and if you are not, you better look for to another option. I think
Yeah,
that's sometimes it's not easy to make that decision, but at the end of the day, is your mental health. I think so. That's more important.
absolutely. You come first,
Exactly.
like your job
Yeah.
and your salary doesn't define you and doesn't come first in your life. Like you have to
Yeah.
prioritize yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Totally agree with
so
you.
I think a lot of people always ask me, how do you find a mentor? And I'm like, I'm right here. You just ask. How
Yeah.
would you, what advice do you have to find a
Yeah.
mentor?
Yeah. I think sometimes first where I think when I was thinking about how to find a mentor, I think the first thing is, what do you want? To be clear about what do you want about that relationship, or about that guidance. And I think that's the first step. And once you have that clear, then you can see if you want someone that had to have a certain experience, or maybe you want to you especially want to know how to get to one specific role in your company. Maybe you want someone that has already done that before and can guide you in that process. Or maybe you need support in how to develop your communication skills, or how you want to grow in a particular thing that it's maybe a skill very critical for your current project. So it depends, I think, a lot about what exactly are your needs, and based on that, you can look for someone, and start with that. We start with a casual conversation, and sharing about what are you looking for, what is the thing that you have in mind to have from that relationship of mentoring, and that it's and see if you can connect with the other person, because sometimes it's really great that you have a great chat, and or maybe sometimes it's not, and you realize that perhaps it's not the best person for you, and that's okay. I think that's not that should not be any make you that should not make you feel bad or anything. So that's for me, that's kind of the start point for
Yeah.
me. And I think I have done that before. I also, when someone reached out to me, I also let them know that we need to find the what is the goal, what is the direction that you want to for this mentoring, and based on that I can tell you I can help you, or maybe I cannot help you, and then I can maybe recommend you someone else, or I can let you go and you
Right.
can keep looking.
Exactly. Yeah. I think whatever I was going to say just flew right out of my head. It's getting late. I'm getting
Yeah,
tired.
sometimes that happens.
Oh my
No
God.
worries.
The older you get, ladies, it's like,
Yeah, no, I don't I think that that's not related with the age. I think sometimes that happens,
yeah. Yeah.
especially when you have long days.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. I've been recording all day. So
yeah. So don't feel bad
yeah.
about that.
Oh,
But yes,
okay. I remember mentors who are really, really great will often take you on as a mentee without you knowing it. Like
yeah,
that's happened to me a number of times. When I became a plural site author, pretty much all of the other authors have always coached me on stuff. Like we have um, coaching like sessions each month, which are all really, really helpful. But mentors who help people without being asked are absolute gems. Like,
yeah, yeah. I think sometimes, yeah, that reminds me that sometimes someone said to me, like, it's so great when you don't expect to be a mentor of someone, but that just comes naturally. And that's really nice that you didn't even plan that, but it happened, and that's awesome, because that makes you feel like you make that special connection with someone, and that they feel that they can trust you, and they see something in you that can can let them learn something, something new, or something that they would like to learn. So I think that's super nice, and that's another type of mentoring, when that comes naturally, and then and that starts develops a really nice um, relationship, on a mentoring relationship. So that's something that has also happened to me, and
oh,
that's
okay.
great. Maybe
Nice.
you didn't intended
Right.
that, but that happened, and it's really great. It's really great that way also. It's very
Yeah.
spontaneous, and it's that also can be very productive in the
Yes,
long term.
absolutely. Um, so the other thing I always tell all my mentees is to pay it forward. When they are in a position to mentor someone, they will, because I'm not
Yeah.
just going to do this,
Yeah.
like we have to pass it on and continue to pass it and continue to support each other. Make the world a better place and all.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's something that it's also, I don't know, part of the culture of, I think lately, I hear a lot about like what you give back to the community, and you can give back in many ways, and mentoring is one of them. If you perhaps are not so so eager to do open source and programming for a open project, but you can do mentoring, or you can guide someone that is not doesn't know where to start with technology. I mean, so do that. I mean, it's nice that we have support inside of the community, inside of the industry, and that will be something that will make this industry better, I think.
I think so too. Yeah. And I wanted to touch on the fact that you're a mom. I always I always think it's amazing. I never had time to have children, and now I'm too old, you know. But
I
like
can understand.
I I think that women who work and are have these amazing jobs at Microsoft and Fang and all of that, like how do you balance all of it? I am in awe, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, I totally understand. Yeah, I think for me it has been always like finding not not always have a balance in your life, because sometimes you have different priorities, and sometimes your kids are first, and sometimes you have to perhaps divide the time and make some sacrifices. Sometimes you don't have a lot of friends, or you don't hang out a lot of with friends because you have to spend sometimes learning, or you have your kid. So there are so many ways, I think, for women. What I admire about women is like we really are super good doing different roles. I think that's a super power that we have. We really can manage a lot of things at the same time, which is not so easy for men. I think that that's something that I have learned across my all my experiences. And being a mom makes you, you know, connect different with the needs of others, because when you have a kid you need to develop many skills, so you can take care of your kid and and have a healthy kids, happy, and that you feel connect with your kid. And so I think that's a skill that you will develop, and always try to prioritize what is the priority for you, and always align that your and your activities, your the things that you do with those priorities. Because for me, and I have seen women that, I don't know, they are super disciplined, they have very defined schedule, and they really respect that schedule, and and that helps you in the long term, because otherwise you couldn't accomplish something. So you should be like always have a little bit of organization, and always put your priorities first. So I think that's something that we have as women, and that we have that ability to manage a lot of things at the same time. So and I also wanted to add that also the confidence that you have in yourself. I think that also helps a lot. And even if you feel like maybe you didn't do a lot of progress in 1 week, but don't get discouraged. I think sometimes because of you cannot control when you have kids, they need many things. Sometimes they get sick, or maybe they you have something in their school that you need to take care of, and sometimes you need to put some time aside your career because of these other needs. But don't get discouraged. Just keep trying, and keep your goals in your mind always, and work for them.
I love that. Yeah. What advice do you have for anyone who is interested in tech?
Yeah, for I think so, now we have so many resources to start in tech. I think sometimes it's I guess for if I were starting at this moment, I would like be like, where do I start? Like you said, like I guess like now we have a lot of options. You can do, I don't know, web developer, you can do cloud development, or you want to do front end, or you want to design, or you want to focus on the user experience. And I think the first thing is what do you want? What do you like? What do you want to try first? And start with that. Start with something simple. Maybe you want to learn a language to be to code, and learn more about the, you know, the protocols, or the how a system works in the backend. So give yourself that experience, and then based on that, maybe you can define, maybe this is for me, or maybe this is not. and start with something simple. I think that's the key, because it can be overwhelming, and maybe you don't know yet if you want to get a degree in computers. So start with something simple, and then maybe you can find out if this is for you. Then you keep doing that, or maybe you can change. And also, well, like we said, reach out to someone else. Maybe look for a mentor and someone that can get you some help when you get blocked, because sometimes it's not so easy to know what to do. So get yourself a mentor and start with something simple. I would say that would be my my first advice.
That is all excellent advice. And I'm so sorry that we have to wrap up this conversation. I say this every time. I
That's
could talk
okay.
to all of my guests for hours and hours, but
Me too.
I know
Me
that you're
too.
busy. Can you tell us where can people connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I am very active in Twitter. Mostly, I can you can reach out to me in Twitter. So my I don't know if I can share my ID in Twitter, but it's Gabri Martinez, Gabri with a Y,
Mhm.
and you can reach out to me. Another way, it's a Medium. I have also a blog in Medium where sometimes I'm not so active lately, but I still publish from time to time what about my learnings, about what I do, about the cloud, of course. And so it's the same, Gabri Martinez, medium.com/Gabri Martinez. And that would be, I think, the 2 points where you can get to know what I'm doing, and also reach out to me in Twitter.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll be very happy to connect with someone. If there is any questions about like how to find a mentor or how to start in tech, please, anybody can reach out, and I will be happy to help them.
That's awesome. And I will have links to all of that in the description. And thank you so much for joining me.
You're
This
very
was
welcome,
such a great
Shelley.
conversation. I feel like I've made a new best friend, like.
Me too. Me too. We absolutely have a lot of things in common.
Yes.
Amazing. So let me know whenever you have you want to have a conversation about mentoring or anything about tech. Just let me know.
Oh my gosh, I
Thank
absolutely
you.
will. Thank you so much.
Thank you, anybody, for hearing us also, and sharing this this chat.
Yes. If you want to support us, please like, subscribe, and share this episode with your fellow gems. Let me know in the comments what other topics you would like me to cover, and follow Tiaras and Tech on social media. Thanks for watching or listening, and have a great day.